Hello, this is Targor. This is a video of a Twitch stream that was not edited, so it's going to look like a Twitch stream. Welcome to my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. The design direction of my vision of Classic Plus is substantially different from that of retail WoW, Circus Shadowlands, and the private servers Vanilla Plus and Turtle WoW. This is partially because it aims to fix Vanilla WoW's many problems first, flesh out and polish what's already there second, after fixing it of course, and add new content third. This is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. The document displays my vision of Classic Plus, and the document's version number is version 1.5.15. All versions of the document are based on patch 1.12.2 of World of Warcraft. That is, the one right before the Burning Crusade pre-patch. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introduction video in this playlist, or read the document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document itself is on my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people who are working with me to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design as far, and it ain't done yet. Note that most of this game's items are pending re-itemization, though I have laid out the groundwork for it. As mentioned in the itemization methodology video and the sweeping itemization changes video. If I recall correctly, also the second one anyway. Also, I forget if this section off the top of my head also involves changes to profession process on each change or not. But unless blatantly specified otherwise, it will also concern profession proc on these effects. That is, those that come from that are associated with professions. Anyway, the actual subsection of the document. A new proc system shall be added to the game called SPPM, which stands for Spell Proc Per Minute, and can only be triggered by damaging and healing spells, but not totems, and by channeled spells such as Arcane Missiles or Rain of Fire, and by Shaman Weapon Enchants and Paladin Seals. A spell proc per minute shall have a 1 in 120 chance to proc per half second of base casting or channeling time per spell proc per minute, and spells whose base cast signs are instant shall have a 1/40th chance per spell proc per minute to proc the spell proc per minute effect. So the maximum spell proc per minute that any proc may have is 3 if it can be triggered by Seal Command, 4 if it can be triggered by Drained Soul but not Seal Command, 9 if it can be triggered by Frostbrand Weapon or Totem but not Drained Soul or Seal Command, and 10 if it cannot be triggered by any of those. Area of effect spells such as Flame Strike and Arcane Explosion have 1 chance to proc it per spell cast, or 0 if it does not hit anything. For channeled or persistent AoE spells, such as Flame Strike that leaves a persistent damage floor on the ground, such spells will use their chance as soon as it hits something, if at all. Flame Tug Weapon, Flame Tug Totem, and Sealed Righteousness with a 1.3 speed weapon, not counting weapon enchantment totems. I forgot that part. I forgot to resolve that contradiction when I add this part in. How did I clicked the wrong button. This stuff. So Flame Tug Weapon, Flame Tug Totem, and Sealed Righteousness will all have a 3-speed weapon, will have a 2.6 repeating percent proc chance per hit per spell proc per minute, while they will have a 6.6 repeating percent proc chance per hit per spell proc per minute, with a 4.0 speed weapon, and have an accordingly lower proc chance per spell proc per minute with lower weapon speeds. And Seal Command will be 1 divided by 0.26 times more likely. This many times more likely than Flame Tug Weapon, Flame Tug Totem, and Seal Righteousness to proc spell proc per minute effects due to Seal Command's 26% proc chance. And Frostbrand Weapon and Totem will have an 11.1 repeating percent chance per spell proc per minute to proc a spell proc per minute effect. Because these effects have a proc chance per minute. Excuse me, 9 ppm. They're not. These are both 9 ppm effects. Yes, Frostbrand Totem. That's a new spell. Goes or not. I was going to write something here, but I forgot what it was. Unfortunately. Oh, yeah, calculator. That's what I had up. Area of effect spells and triggers spell proc per minute effects will If applicable, use it upon a random target that the triggering spellcast already affected upon triggering, unless it is a smart heal, in which case it'll function as normal. And wait. Why did I write that part? Yeah, okay, yeah. That just means that it's gonna affect the guy that the smart heal heals. The guy that needs it the most. In which case, the target that it affects will be determined by the who needs it the most. In which case, it'll affect the target that needs it the most. That's what I meant when I wrote that part, like, was it 2 years ago? And I've barely read it since. Barely reread it since. So yeah, if the spell proc effect comes from an AoE smart heal, then it'll affect the target that needs it the most. Among those that the smart heal healed. Wands can also proc spell proc permanent effects. 1.2 speed wands will have a 2% chance per spell proc per minute to proc spell proc permanent effects, while 2.0 speed wands will have a 3.3 repeating percent chance per spell proc per minute per hit to proc spell proc permanent effects. Does it 1.2 is the fastest possible wand speed, while 2.0 is the fastest, slowest possible wand speed. In both cases, I mean base speed, not with haste. Like range haste, range weapon haste, which, if I recall correctly, applies to wands, and not spell haste. Anyway, so some examples: Moonfire will have a spell proc per minute Moonfire will have a 2.5% chance per spell proc per minute to proc a spell proc per minute effect. So something has 10 spell proc. So something has a 10 SPPM proc chance. Moonfire will have a 25% chance to proc it, as well as every other instant cast spell that deals damage. Another example, Fireball. Max rank Fireball has a 3.5 second base cast time. It does not account for talents. So 1 divided by 120 per spell proc per minute per half second of base cast time. Yes, per half second of base cast time. There are 7.5s and 3.5, so that means a 1 spell proc per minute effect will have a 5.83 repeating percent chance to get procs by Fireball. And one more example, the most hyperbolic one, Pyroblast. Pyroblast has 12.5 in it, so 1 divided by 120 times 12 equals a 1 spell proc per minute. A 1 spell proc per minute effect will have a 10% chance to be procced by Pyroblast. Hence the hard cap on spell proc per minute for stuff that's not triggered by this stuff of 10. For stuff that's not triggered by this stuff. Anyway, moving on. Concerning proc per minute effects, Shield Bash and Shield Slam will count its 2.4 speed attacks, as will any other shield hitting stuff that I add to the game, which I have not by this point. Using, equipping, or unequipping a trinket with a non-use effect that is not a teleporter, Alterac Valley Insignia, or jumper cables will put all trinkets in the game that are not those on cooldown for the duration of the used trinket's cooldown. This will prevent min-maxing from getting out of hand in certain ways you're better off not knowing about. Also, after I go and redo most of the game's optimization, I expect that no trinket will have a cooldown that's longer than 5 or early 10 minutes. It's time for cables and teleporters. And do note that swapping from a trinket with no on-use effect to another trinket with no on-use effects will not invoke a trinket cooldown. And do also note that this will cause the optimal trinket setup to be either 2 passive trinkets or 1 passive trinket with 1 on-use trinket. As mentioned elsewhere in this document, using any on-use effect from any equipable item that is not a trinket and does not require perfection to use will put all other such items in the entire game on cooldown and invoke a random profession cooldown for the duration of the on these effect that is used. So, for example, equivalent items that are not trinkets and do not require profession to use that have on these effects include items such as Spider Belt, Ornate Mithril Greaves, Skull of Impending Doom. I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head. And what is a profession cooldown? Well, I'll go over that right now. It's in the glossary somewhere. Glossary. A profession cooldown / profession buff is a specific combat altering bonus and / ability that is not necessarily tied to equipment that primary professions grant the player. Yes, that primary professions grant to the player in order to make engineering not be the end-all be-all best profession in the entire game by leaps and bounds. Such buffs include a permanent bonus to a stat, an activated ability of some sort, and / or the ability to use an item or enchant, yes, enchant, that requires having the profession at a specific level or higher, a specific amount of skill or higher, and possibly with a specific profession specialization as well, in order to be allowed to make use of it in the first place. Yes, it means that passives from profession-specific enchants and such and whatnot will have no effect if you do not have enough profession skill with required profession specialization. Moving on. All such on-use effects from non-profession items that are equipped in slots other than any trinket slot, all such of those on-use effects will be re-itemized as if they are profession cooldowns that are associated with professions that have many cooldown options that are easily switched between, in this case, alchemy, and thus get 70% of the normal profession cooldown budget. Damaging proc. This does not necessarily mean that it's always going to proc an alchemy cooldown. It could proc your other profession's cooldown instead. Proc an alchemy. Trigger an alchemy cooldown, excuse me. Yeah, it could trigger a different profession's cooldown instead. Moving on. Damaging procs will not be able to be triggered by Gouge or Scatter Shot and Red Wolf Scale Belt Reinforcements, nor by Red Dragon Scale Belt Reinforcements. Belt Reinforcements are the profession buff that Letterworking gets. They are Letterworking only belt enchants that require Letterworking potentially of a specific specialization in order to use, and they may or may not grant you access to a spell while equipped. While the item with the enchant is equipped, and then of course you lose access to the spell after you unequip it, or do not have enough skill anymore, or change your profession specialization, which it would involve re-grabbing your skill because I got rid of that book at Tanaris. Anyway, yes, that book did actually exist for a time in Vanilla Classic, by the way. I took advantage of it to change my profession spec from Goblin to Gnomish. Anyway, and then they got rid of it. Anyway, all temporarily... yeah, that was back in 2019. Anyway, moving on to the actual Classic Plus stuff. Back to the actual Classic Plus stuff. All temporarily summoned creatures that are not a Felguard, Infernal, Doomguard, or Quest NPC. Yes, I added Felguard to the game, but as an Infernal / Doomguard type summon. That is, it's enslaved for 5 minutes, and then you just lose control of it, and it's not your typical Warlock demon, as such. Anyway, all temporarily summoned creatures that are not a Felguard, Infernal, Doomguard, or Quest NPC will have defenses equal to that of a standard non-elite NPC of their level. And they'll have 15% crit, 15% spell crit, 2.5 attack speed, and no bonuses to hit or spell hit, and irrelevant weapon skills will be equal to 2 NPC level times 5, and they will not be targetable by buffs, excluding HOTS, other than those of the temporarily summoned creature, lest they be overpowered. You can heal them. You can heal them. That's the only buff you can give them, heals. And power word shield. Remember to make temporarily summoned creatures that aren't from warlock spells be able to be targetable by powered shield. I'm gonna put that in the changelog at the bottom for the next version. After this video. So, you know, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it now. Excluding Haunts of Powered Shield. Summoning a temporarily summoned creature will not cause you to dismiss your hunter pet, unsummon an or unenslave a warlock demon, or stop mind controlling something, nor while doing those things unsummon a temporarily summoned creature. You can have multiple such creatures out at once if there's not a cooldown in the way. If there's not a profession cooldown or however in the way. Anyways. All effects from all non-class specific things that are available to players that reduce the enemy stats will not ever reduce their strength / agility / stamina / intellect / spirit by more than 15. Horned Viking Helmet, that special helmet for Ultimate, will only incapacitate its target for 5 seconds, but its cooldown will be reduced to 2 minutes. Ooh, that reminds me. I recently determined that I had to make Goblin Rocket Helmet stop having charge effects on it, so I replaced it on each effect with something completely different. Make Horned Viking Helmet have a completely different on-use effect. Of course, it'll still be an interesting effect. I don't have any ideas yet. You know what? I'm gonna put it in the thumbnail. Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out after this video, and I'm gonna put it in the thumbnail. Anyway, the on-use effect of Atish, Great Staff of the Guardian, will not be usable in Battlegrounds in order to prevent a mind control exploit. You don't have to know what that exploit is. The Lion Horde of Stormwind will, instead of having a 1% chance of stricken to increase the armor of all party members from 250 for 30 seconds, just increase the armor of all party members within 30 yards at all times by 152, similar to its function for Warcraft 3. This will stack up all buffs, including any Paladin Devotion Aura, and it'll also be unique equips. This is to make the item get disenchanted less often. Manual Crowd Pummeler will be renamed to Automatic Crowd Pummeler, and its strength, agility, and non-use effects will be removed and replaced with a 1% chance on hit to grant 72% attack speed for 13 seconds. This is because the item was extremely overpowered for generating burst, threat, and raids. Design note: this is 0.3238095238095238 itemization points over the itemization budget, which is exactly 2% of the budget. I got a text message. I'm going to respond to it. Okay, I've responded to the text message. Now, hopefully I won't get another one during the recording. A questionable and tentative change. I haven't actually properly re-itemized this on each effect yet. Arcane Infused Gem, the shitty Hunter class trinket from Blackwing Glare, will tentatively also cause the one buffed Arcane Shot to also silence the affected targets for 3 seconds in order to make the item get disenchanted less. Mind Quickening Gem will tentatively also increase a mage's mana consumption by 1/3 while active. I am probably going to nerf it more in the future. I am almost certainly going to nerf it more in the future when I properly re-itemize it, but again, I haven't gotten around to it yet. You know, I actually probably could do that right now. I think I might do that right now. Let me see. Plus 1% damage, cost 0.0283 repeating, stat per character level. 0.2083 repeating times 60 equals 12.5. Plus 1% damage, costs 12.5 stats. Off the top of my head, trinkets get eye level, divide by 3, itemization points if blue, and it's epic, so it's treated as if it gets plus 6 eye levels. Oh, 12.5 stat at level 60. So 65, the item level, plus 6, because it's epics, equals 71, divided by 3 equals points. Mind quickening gem, many itemization points. Did I spell that right? Quick and yes, I did. This is equal to, wait, divided by 12.5 equals, it can, I'm not going to actually give it passive, afford to have 1.893% damage on it. If it had, what was the uptime? I forgot. Okay, here it is. Wow. I wasn't even looking at my tabs. Yeah, my Twitch channel is basically nothing. I only got like 72 followers. Anyway, Mind Quickening Gem. I want to maintain the, Oh, there's no dash in the name. Hold on. Oh, there is no dash. Okay, good. So let me see. 5-minute cooldown, 20-second duration. Five-minute cooldown, 20-second duration. That means 1/15th uptime. Because 300 divided by 20, I did that in the wrong order. Yeah, that's 1/15th. So, 1/15th uptime. That means this number times 15 equals 28.4. Oh, wow, 28.4%. That's actually really powerful. They actually itemize that pretty well. Oh, wait, I forgot. How the fuck did I forget that that's not damage, it's spell haste? Anyway. Spell haste, I'm pretty sure it costs the exact same amount of itemization points, 0.2083 repeating per character. Excuse me, 0.2083 repeating per character level. Also, 0.2083 repeating per character level. It can afford to have 28.4% spell haste for 20 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown. Which is actually not that much less than in the Blackwing Glare. Wow, the item is pretty good considering its actual item level is higher than 65. I wonder, divided by 71 times 76 plus 6 equals 82. Wow, they really itemize that exactly just like this. However, I'm nerfing it. It's going to be 28.4 instead. Which is going to be rounded down to, this will be rounded down to 28%. However, it is still extremely powerful, so I'm going to lower it to 14% for 40 seconds. In order to cut down on burst damage, this will be lowered to 14% and last for 40 seconds. Wait, hold on. No. Instead, I'm going to lower the cooldown. Divided by 5 times 4 equals this. Divided by 4 times 3 equals this. 3, I like that. 17%. It's a nice, almost integer number. Divided by 3 times 2 equals not an integer. Divided by 2 equals not an integer. Okay, 3 works. This will be changed to 17% spell haste for 20 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. Alright. My Quickening Gem will be changed to grant 17% spell haste for 20 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. In order to it was already itemized properly to begin with in vanilla, but in this Classic Plus, its eye level was reduced to 65 and its cooldown was reduced, which means that, or, or to do so that I had an excuse to reduce its haste when used. This way, it'll be a lot less thirsty and less. I don't want to say exploitable. Not necessarily be the end all. And not be ridiculously powerful. Generally not be ridiculously powerful. I clicked the wrong monitor again. Properly re-itemized mind quickening gem. I really did not know about mind quickening gem. It's actually itemized exactly like in its document back in vanilla. I guess I really got that number exactly right when I was doing my itemization formula. I did not have anything to go off of for spell haste. Oh wait, now I remember. I kind of did, but only kind of. I did a whole lot of extrapolation to figure that number out. Anyway, yeah. Rune Metamorphosis will tentatively have its cooldown lowered to 2 minutes. It can be used to spam shapeshifts to keep movement impairing effects off of you, at least. This change is to make the item get disenchanted less. The number of charges on Devil Sword Tooths on these effects will tentatively be increased for 1, 2, 2 charges so that it affects. I better open my stream manager. So that it affects the path next to attacks instead of just the path next attack. This is to make the item get picked as a quest reward more often. Devil Sword Eye will grant crit chance instead of hit chance to make it stay useful for longer. The duration of Sanctified Orb will tentatively be increased to 1 minute. I have not gotten around to properly itemizing it yet. I could do it during this video, but I don't feel like it. Abyss Shard will no longer give you a free Void Walker, if you use it properly. And by properly, I mean in the way that it would give you free Void Walker, so not actually the intended way to develop that. So just forget I said properly. If you use it in a certain way. Instead, it'll cast Howl of Terror rank 1 with no mana cost when you use Abyss Shard instead of summoning a Void Walker. This changes because Abyss Shard enabled Warlocks to just get a free soul. Oh, now I remember. It did actually give you a free Void Walker outright, but you could abuse it to get a free Soul Shard. That's what I meant. Yeah, so instead of giving you a free Soul Shard to cast Howl of Terror rank 1 with no mana cost when you use Abyss Shard. I didn't even fucking read what I was reading off. I didn't even process it. It just went in one ear. It just went into my mouth and then out my ear. Searing Needle's proc will be changed to simply be a 1% chance on a hit to deal 135 160 fire damage, which will massively nerf Dragon Breath Chili. 6 Demon Bag will have a 5-minute cooldown, and its Fell Hunt. That's on purpose, by the way. The Dragon Breath Chili nerf. More on that in the eventual video on cooking. Actually, I'll just go over that now. Searing Needle. I'm just not going to bother going over it, hell of it. You can think about it yourself. 6 Demon Bag will have a 5-minute cooldown, and its Fell Hunter will be level 46 and deal 60.5 hyper damage per hit and stick around for up to 30 seconds, but no longer have a mana burn. The Fell Hunter will no longer burn mana. 6 Demon Bag's Fireball will hit for 378 to 152 fire damage with a dot for 50 fire damage over 4 seconds, 2 second ticks. So 25 fire damage, 2 ticks. Its Frostbolt will deal 215 to 255 frost damage and slow movement speed by 21% for 2 to 3 seconds. Its Chain Lightning will deal 246 to 296 damage, not 400, and Jump out of the Shaman spell, 30% less damage per jump, 2 jumps. Its Polymorph will last for 10 seconds and have a 15% chance to backfire, and polymorph you instead. And the backfire is only when it polymorphs, by the way. 15% chance when it decides to polymorph. to backfire. And it's the Whirlwind, which, if I recall correctly, as the Brave Crusades telephone spell, that is a banish. It will banish for 5 to 6 seconds. The Whirlwind from 6 Demon Bag. I could show you how I re-item my 6 Demon Bag, but I did not save my recording of how I re-item my items, so I'm just not going to bother. In order to keep the video shorter, and because I don't feel like redoing this itemization again and getting the exact same results. Dragon Calls Proc will have a 1% proc chance, and its wealth will be level 52 and will not melee stuff. They will instead spit acid bolts, which cannot be interrupted as a spell, with a 3-second cast time, and each acid bolt will deal 45 to 53 nature damage on hit, and it'll despawn after 18 seconds. Each one despawns after 18 seconds, rather. Cannonball Render Summon will be level 58. It'll target a random enemy and span 30-yard range attacks, which with a 5-second cast time cannot be interrupted as a spell. But it deals 60 physical area of effect damage that does not check avoidance. That is, it ignores avoidance, ignores dodge, it's a range attack, it already ignores dodge. It ignores block chance and miss chance. It has a 30-second duration and a 10-minute cooldown. The summon lasts for 30 seconds and it has a 10-minute cooldown. Barrel Peasant Colors Peasants will be level 58 and deal 21 to 29 damage per hit, and it will have a 30-second duration and a 5-minute cooldown. Defender of the Timber Mob Summon will be level 58. The NPC itself. If not silenced or interrupted or an allied creature is hurt, it will spam Lesser Heal and Wave on random targets that are not at maximum hit points, healing for 22 to 29 hit points per spell cast. Otherwise, it will melee for 24.5 average damage per hit. This summon has a 30-second duration and a 5-minute cooldown. The Fire Elemental summoned by Cinder Bracers will be the same level as you are and deal 1.5797638568986 average damage per hit per level as fire damage, minus 1% per level below 60, and it will be the same. And it will be immune to fire, and it'll have a 1-minute duration of a 3-minute cooldown. So, level 60, Cinder will deal an average of 95, because it rounds up to 95, not down to 94.5, 95 fire damage per hit. Again, that's before accounting for crits. However, at level 40, it will deal, divided by 6 times 4, minus 1% per level below 60, so times 0.8, an average of 50.5 fire damage per hit. I really need to put that in. I forgot to put this in the correct section. I just remembered. By color. These are proc/on use changes. Though, actually, I guess these kind of are also unequivocal items. I'm gonna have to sort this shit out later. For now, let's take all the shit from that other section and from that other subsection and put it up there. Not all of it, that's the Relevant ones. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, moving on. Chromatically tempered sword will be realized as such when I get around to it. The bonuses strength, agility, and stamina are going to be removed, and they'll be replaced with 5 chance on hit effects, each of them associated with one of dragon flights for thematic reasons, and in order to differentiate it from Ancient Karaji Ripper. The reason I have not gotten around to actually re-itemizing that one in particular yet, which I kind of want to do, is because I don't have enough good ideas for this. For thematic effects, so if they hit dragon flights or not. Oh, I forgot why, actually. Anyway, next up. If Iron Foe handed Justice for reacts and Trash Blades proc had an internal cooldown longer or shorter than 0.01 seconds, then they will be changed to half a second. This is to prevent players from instantly getting 10 extra attacks or something without overly nerfing the items, in case you get astronomically lucky. Spirited Stone Shaper and Dark Iron Pulverizer will both have a half proc per minute proc chance on hit, 2 stun for 2 seconds as their only non-base item properties. Of course, it's not actually going to be VPM, it's going to be a set chance. I just was too lazy to calculate what the weapon speed would be for the PPM stuff. Anyway, this will make Spirited Stone Shaper not suck, and both weapons, and as well as making both weapons have, well, proper optimization buttons. Both weapons properly abide by the itemization formulae. Design note, this item property uses all but 0.39% of their itemization budgets. The half proc per minute chance on hit to stun for 2 seconds. Anyway, the weapon's final recoil have all with non-base attributes removed and be replaced with a 25% chance on hit to grant the wielder 65 to 77 mana or 2 to 3 rage, and the proc will not make a noise or a visual effect when it procs. The Thunder Fury is going to be massively nerfed, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. It's not going to be ridiculously good at threat generation anymore, among other things. Phantom Crystal Spider's proc will no longer reduce the opponent's melee or range attack speeds, but its proc will last for an extra 5 seconds for the time being. Crystal's Ulcerax proc will no longer damage the opponent, but its attack speed slow will last for an extra 5 seconds for the time being. All weapon procs that reduce the opponent's attack speed, including that of the Hand of Onto Soul, will no longer override Thunderclap, the warrior move. In order to prevent such procs from being undesirable in raids, to the point that you're better off using something that's 10 item levels lower than something with such a proc. The Hand of Onto Soul Thunderclap proc will be changed to deal physical damage and crit like a physical attack that is double damage, and scale off of melee crit in order to be consistent with changes with in order to be consistent with changes made to other versions of Thunderclap and similar physical damage spells. It'll also change the damage that the proc deals at some point. All weapons in the entire game that have a proc that reduces the opponent's armor will have that proc be replaced with something else, or in the case of violence such as Striker to Hydra and Hookfang Shaker, that component of their procs will do something else instead of the whole proc being replaced. Raids should not be obligated to use certain weapons just for PvE that are not generally skilled elsewhere anyway. And remember to make the finished item be the video's thumbnail. All weapons in the entire game that have a proc that reduces the opponent's armor will have that proc be replaced with something else, or in the case of violence that also do something else to that same proc. That is Striker to Hydra and Hookfang Shaker, if I recall correctly, just those. That component of their procs that reduces armor will do something else instead of the whole proc being replaced, or it'll just deal the negative damage. Raids should not to be obligated to use certain weapons just for PvE. They're not nearly as good elsewhere. Not that they wouldn't in those cases, but hey, just in case somebody figures it out, so it's better or some shit. I introduce Items that reduce both agility are not affected by its change, are not going to be affected by its change, and reduces their agility will still reduce the NPC's armor. Will still reduce the armor of the affected creature, NPC or not. More on that in a different video, by the way. A later video. Nightfall's non-base attributes will be removed and replaced with a 10% chance on hits to increase the damage dealt by the next spell that you cast within 10 seconds by up to plus 423. Design note, this is made for hybrids but gets no hybrid bonus. It's probably okay because I'm using spell damage to spell damage plus healing, and 20% value spell damage plus healing. In the form of the stat plus SPD. The Shatterer's proc that one level 44 mace that she has a chance to disarm. It's proc will be replaced with 4 attack power and a unique on equip effect that negates up to 3% of the foe's block chance. That is, if a foe has 5 block chance, each recent foe is having 2 block chance, for example. Next up, Ravager will be changed to be 3.7 speed. Oh, by the way, that disarm is going to be particularly broken against the 4 horsemen if I leave it in the game, so yeah, I got rid of it. The Ravager will be changed to be 3.7 speed, as I went over in the previous video, and it'll have 102 to 152 weapon damage, and its proc will be 3% proc chance, and deal 127 to 166 damage per hit, and it's with nearly all damaging AoE accessible to players, it'll be target capped such that it can only hit up to 6 targets per tick. The other 342 targets, however many guys, are going to be completely unaffected by the proc of each tick. Because it's only going to hit 6 guys per tick, like Thunderclap, like War Stomp, like Whirlwind. That's what I meant. I didn't really describe that yet, but it's going to be like Thunderclap, War Stomp, and Whirlwind, except it's that many targets per tick, and it's 6 per tick, not 4 or 5. Anyway, moving on. Whirlwind Axe, Sword, and Warhammer will tentatively have their strength and stamina bonuses be replaced with -10 to Whirlwind's rage cost for thematic reasons. The proc of Sprinter's Sword will instead be a 1% proc chance and increase your run speed by 55% for 19 seconds. This is so that it actually abides properly by the optimization budget. Design note, 55% is rounded down from 55.0607. Why did I round down instead of up? Oh yeah, it rounded down. It's not 0.5, the 5 is here, not there, yeah. Ugh, I didn't even read that right somehow. I must be too mentally exhausted already. I also did record another video right before I started recording this. Anyway, it'll also act like other movement speed bonuses in that only the largest one will apply. Diamond Flasks on these effects will only heal you for 189 hit points. No plus healing scaling, of course. And grant you 129 strength for 3 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown. Other supplemental triggers are mostly pending reionization, by the way. Why no plus healing scaling? Well, rather, where did no plus healing scaling come from? I'll get to that later. Also, it should be pretty obvious if you actually play WoW Classic, Vanilla Classic in 2019 and 2020 and later. Hand of Aether or Diod will not increase the casting speed of any item. It'll only affect proper spells. So it will not affect your Hearthstone, for example. Nor Goblin Jumper Cables, for example. Battle Gear Wrath's AP set bonuses will tentatively wear off after 10 seconds. It'll still have 1 charge. This prevents some sort of infinite parry exploit that I forgot how it worked, but they actually nerfed that in Vanilla Classic. Blizzard did. It'll also be not a problem in this Classic Plus because I'm going to make it tentatively wear off for 10 seconds anyway. But I'm probably going to actually end up doing is replacing it with a completely different set bonus when I get around to it. Black Husk Shields, Stamina and Spirit will be removed, and it's not easy to detect all of infinite charges, and it will only dispel 1 poison from your target on a 1.5-minute cooldown. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna leave it like that, I guess. If it wasn't the case before, the property quotation mark big and orange quotation mark effective hollow entries will not work on enemies that are immune to movement slowing effects. Orb of Deception will turn high elves into ogres and ogres into high elves. They're the 2 new races you can play as. Alliance gets high elves, ogres get Stonewall ogres. I had to do a bit of retconning to make both of them exist as playable races thematically. The following items shall share cooldowns with each other and only each other, with the cooldown invoked on all the items being equal to the cooldown of the trigger item. Design out the itemization point budget to the below items based off of health stones, because they share a cooldown with them. All these items have 40 plus character level percent of 126.8115942028985 times character level divided by 60 itemization points, whereas character level equals expected character level. C level equals expected character level. So yes, all these are going to share cooldowns to each other and only each other. Health Stones, Elemental Protection Potions, Frozen Room, Battle Standards, Strapholm, Swordwind, and Stranglethorn Veil Holy Water. Dark Runes, Demonic Runes, Whipper Tubers, Night Dragon's Breath, Crystal Sword, Razor Lasher, Lily Root, Crystal Basilisk Spine, Tinsel Tea, Love Pool, Cinder Bracers, Mechanical Green, Magic Dust, Magic Candle, and Unconscious Cigarette. By the way, all these items, because the vanilla, Stranglethorn Veil Holy Water is not a new item. Razor Lash Roots are not a new item either. All non-class specific sources of spell damage and healing will no longer scale bonus spell damage or bonus healing. By the way, Major Health Stones still heal for the exact same amount as before on the exact same cooldown as before. That's where I got exactly this many itemization points from. To an extent, anyway, to an extent. All non-class specific sources of spell damage and healing will no longer scale bonus spell damage or bonus healing. Not doing this means that either procs are too valuable if you have a lot of bonus spell damage or healing, or they're not valuable enough for people who do not have bonus spell damage or healing, unless they are procs that would not scale up those. Anyway, I do not like this change myself, but I don't have much other choice here. Glowing Cafe Green, Dog Whistle, and Spiked Collar shall be turned into trinkets in order to cut down on tryhardery. Glowing Cafe Green will require level 20 to use, and Dog Whistle and Spiked Collar will require level 30 to use. Excuse me, to equip. Glowing Cafe Green's Ghost Saber will be untamable, but you'll be able to spawn a tameable one by looting a Glowing Cafe Green from the relevant non-corpse object out of the world. The Ghost Saber summoned by using the trinket will be level 20 and deal 31 average damage per hit, and the trinket will last for 30 seconds on a 10-minute cooldown, and it'll have infinite charges. Dog Whistle will summon 3 dogs at once when used, and the dogs will be level 30 and deal 23 average damage per hit, and it will be a trinket with a 30-second duration and a 10-minute cooldown, and it'll have infinite charges. I already said it's going to be a trinket. So I'm going to cut down on redundancy here. Have a 30-second duration, 10-minute cooldown, and have infinite charges. Spiked Colors fell to deal 72.5 average damage per hit. It'll last for 1 minute, have a 5-minute cooldown. It'll have infinite charges. All equipable items with temporary effects, summons or not, will end their effects early if you unequip them in order to keep tryhardery on a leash. Unconscious Cigarettes will no longer be usable in all dungeons, raids, and battlegrounds in order to prevent very, very many terrain exploits that you're better off not knowing about. I use one of those terrain exploits in Classic, not Plus, that is Vanilla Classic, in order to go hiking to that one cave in the mountains in Mulgore that you see when you're flying from Thunderbluff to Orgrimmar. Yes, I actually went there and went inside the cave, and apparently there's nothing special in there. Who knew? But I did take a picture. I did take pictures, and I'm not showing it to you. Yeah, you're better off not knowing how I did that. But aside from the fact that it involves an unconscious Stigrat. Anyway, weapons from raids, including items from 10-man raids and lower/upper Blackhawk Spire, will often have crazy on-hit effects on them, or chance of hit effects on them. These weapon types include daggers, fist weapons, 1-handed axes, 1-handed maces, 1-handed swords, polearms, melee staves, 2-handed axes, 2-handed maces, 2-handed swords, bows, crossbow guns, cast weapons, and possibly offhand throws, and cast shields, but not 100 stat sticks, such as a polearm that have nothing but agility on it. And yeah, that's all I got for process on use effects, except a bunch of them are under auto-equipable item changes for whichever reason. These, because they also qualify as changes to items that cannot be equipped. So if you want to know about the rest of these, just watch the next video on equipable item changes. Alright, time to start getting ready to record that video. See you later.